Preston, it's a small city in the northwest of England. It's in between Manchester and Liverpool. There's a population of 141,000. It goes back a long way. It goes back centuries. It was named Priesttown, obviously a very Catholic town. And when it was formed, just for the last 100 years, traditionally, especially after the Second World War, we did have growing prosperity and, we produced lots of really innovative products here. So people generally had quite well-paid jobs in our communities. And then in the last 40 odd years, obviously, a lot of those jobs have disappeared with deindustrialisation and privatisation, and that's seen rates of poverty increase significantly. So we've gone from being relatively prosperous, say, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, to actually having real challenges around inequality. We decided in about 10 years ago that the conventional approaches to economic development weren't working for our city. They tended to benefit the top 1%. It was also very difficult to, attract conventional large businesses into the community, often because the amount that's spent on our infrastructure and other things is a lot less than places like London and Manchester. So it wasn't working for us, so we thought we wanted to actually build something new. So that's how community wealth building began. And it was also trying to respond to austerity, because the council and its budget and our partners' budget was significantly reduced. So the idea is we want to make ourselves more resilient, to build more democracy in the community and in the economy. So we actually base the economy in many ways around what we have here already. We've got lots of public sector institutions which are headquartered here. So there's 2 councils that are headquartered in Preston. We've got social housing providers, we've got a hospital, a university, the police are headquartered very nearby. So we realise these institutions are spending, over £1 billion each year on goods and services. So, when we were having problems bringing money into the community, we realised, we're quite wealthy anyway, in the sense we've got these institutions that employ, tens of thousands of people in the city. They spend over £1 billion on goods and services. So let's actually work with them and try to build that resilience in the local community and economy.
The first really impact of that process has been the cultural change. We can almost identify it happening at 3 different levels. The first one would really be from a practitioner's and officer's perspective, and realizing their role within the institutions, and also the understanding of how through their role in public procurement they can make a change. And I think the spend analysis really enabled that change of perception. On another level, it was also a cultural change within the institutions, and using the findings as a base for creating discussions between different departments, but also at different levels between officers and senior officers at more directorate level. And that had helped to change the place of public procurement within those institutions, and to take it from the shadows, where it was more a bureaucratic process, to more being at the forefront as a really useful strategic tools to help define how we shape our services, our city, and how we can support our communities. And then thirdly was really that change that happened at a city level. And that's where, through undertaking the spend analysis process, the institution really came together and realized they were sharing a common goal and had really a collective vision of progressing public procurement to deliver more for the communities, their place, the environment, the economy. And obviously they were working in different sectors, so they had different ways of going at and exploring and approaching that goal, but they were really sharing that collective vision. A procurement practitioner group was created with representatives from all the different anchor institutions, but also business organizations. And that really created a forum for exchanging good practices, building capacity collectively, because we had that collective goal. They formalized this collective vision into an intent, a collective statement of intent that really outlined the long-term vision for working collaboratively on progressing public procurement and realizing community wealth building.
It's been successful in the sense that we've got a number of policies. So it's not just procurement, there's policies around employment, investment, real living wage, but also trying to bring more ownership to the economy. So we support cooperatives, worker-owned businesses, community land trusts, other forms of ownership. But specifically, so far, in terms of wage levels, we're the best out of 12 districts for people who receive the real living wage of £9.30 an hour for people who work within Preston. So it's kind of like it really is beginning to have a big impact, but it takes time to change the culture. We've changed it a lot already, but we want to go a lot further, really. There's dozens of areas now looking at community wealth building, but again, it's not just about procurement, it's about a number of things, but procurement is really, really important because it's a really good starting point, and it's probably the most effective tool out of community wealth building because it's money that's in communities anyway that is under our control.